I actually spent a long time in my animal brain, which is a very horrible place to be. And
When you say that, what do you mean by you spent a long time in your animal brain?
you're in flight or fight.
Right.
All
Yes.
And I found this out. I actually spent a long time in my animal brain, which is a very horrible place to be. And
When you say that, what do you mean by you spent a long time in your animal brain?
you're in flight or fight
Right.
all the time. You don't even sleep. It's like really not a good place to be. And if anybody looks at you the wrong way, you want to bite them.
Yeah.
And sometimes you say and do things that are socially unacceptable. And, I went and got a brain scan by this guy called Daniel Amen, who's this brain guy. He's against all psych meds and stuff, but he thinks like, let me have a look at your brain. And he put a radioactive tracer in me.
Whoa.
And to photograph my brain.
Right,
He works with a lot
MRI,
of,
right?
Yeah, he works with a lot of football players and guys who've
Okay.
got brain injuries. Man, it's thirsty in here. But, so he looked at my brain and he was like, and he opens the file and I'm in there with the guy and he looks up and he goes, "Are you okay?" And he goes, first he went like this. And I said, "What?" And he went, "Are you okay?" Like that. And I said, "Yeah, I think so." And he came over and he sat next to me, but very slowly and cautiously. And he says, "No, you're not." And I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "You got the worst case of PTSD I have ever seen." And I said, "You mean like even worse than guys in war and shit like that?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he says, "You're not okay."
Jesus Christ.
And I was like, I started to well up, like, no, I'm not. It's like,
Oh, boy.
And it was, he had a very miraculous and great remedy for it, which was to eat a bunch of fish oil, vitamin B complex, and get into a hyperbaric chamber for 40 sessions. But make sure you do at least 2 or 3 a week.
Ah.
It fixed my head.
Really?
Yeah, it got me out of that wacky place,
So it was something to do with nutrition and oxygen and...
Yeah. And your brain is neuroplasticity. He explained neuroplasticity to me and how, okay, you could get brain damage and like holes in your head and all, concussion. I used to play rugby. And I've been knocked out on the field a couple of times,
That explains a lot. Yeah.
And so it actually, you can actually heal the holes in your head. It looked like Swiss cheese in there. It's like horrible. There's a lot of these football players get like that too. The poor guys, they get depressed and they get,
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah.
Hormonal imbalance, pituitary glands fucked up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Not producing testosterone or human growth hormone correctly.
That's correct.
Yeah, depression, low energy.
Yep.
Irritability.
Irritability, you want to kill somebody, it's like terrible thing, and it's just not socially acceptable. Plus, I don't want to go to prison.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the rugby, I bet that's a giant factor.
yeah, I played from like 13 to probably my late teens, and you get knocked around a little
100%.
bit.
Yeah, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
No helmet, no,
Well, people don't realize, like, even shots to the chest cause brain damage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what people are realizing now.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And like I'm addicted to the UFC, right? I love it. But I know that these guys I feel kind of sorry for them.
I do as well, yeah.
And one of the guys, I knew one of the guys fairly well. And usually I'm pretty immune to but he was in there and he was fighting against Volkanovski. It was Brian Ortega. And he was getting his ass handed to him in one fight. He almost got him a couple of times, but
Yeah, he almost submitted him twice.
Yeah, I know. But because I knew Brian, it was like my child. It was like my son was in there.
Right.
I almost started crying. I was
Yeah.
and it got to me. I was like, I should probably feel like this about all these guys, but I don't know them as well.
It becomes a problem for me when I'm friends with a guy, and then also I see when they're on the tail end of their career and they can't take shots anymore. And then when you talk to them, you recognize the speech patterns are slurring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met Muhammad Ali when he was in a chair,
Oof.
And man, I don't know if I could even tell this story. What he said was so funny. But he was still in there, and he was still a little devil. And he was like, and he was still fucking with people.
Of course.
But it was like, I can't tell this.
You can't?
No, man.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
footnote it. Tell me later.
I'll tell you later. It is funny. But it was my assistant, you know. Is what he said to my assistant. It was like so funny. And